Miracle Boy Boxing. I am your host, Wilson Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. looking to make a comeback in boxing. Based on what I've seen, it seems to be a serious turnaround. He's been putting in some work in the gym. Based on what I've seen, pictures and videos, he's at the Wild Card Boxing Club in California. Freddie Roach, back with Freddie Roach. When he was with Freddie Roach, Julio was making noise. Freddie's is who got him to become to the world title. He made him become champion. And Julio Cesar Chavez, man, he's one of those careers that has been very up and down. When he was on the rise, coming up as a prospect, he had a lot of promising. He had a lot of promise, avenging his dad defeat. The last fight that his father fought against Grover Wiley in 2005. Chavez Jr. came back 2 years later and stopped him, avenged that defeat. Then before, so he racked up a good bit of wins. I think he was about 30-0 before he fought Sebastian Speak for the middleweight championship at the Staples Center in 2011. That was a tremendous fight. Both guys went back and forth. Julio, it was a close fight. It was a close fight. Julio worked the body, or speak. Both guys going at it. Razor thin fight, and they gave the fight to Julio by majority decision. Actually, it was a pretty close fight. Beating Speak, who was 30-0 at the time. And after that, Julio made a few title defense against Peter Manfredo Jr. He beat Marco Antonio Rubio in a pretty good fight. And then he scored the biggest win of his career against Andy Lee by stoppage in 7 rounds. Then he had that big fight with Sergio Martinez on pay-per-view in 2012 at the Thomas Bank Center, where he got outboxed for 11 rounds. And then in the 12th round, he turned the fight around dramatically in one of the best fights, in one of the best rounds I've seen in boxing. Knocking down Sergio, beating him up, basically. That was in a fight, and also it looked like at times in that round, Julio was going to stop Sergio Martinez, more or less like his dad did to Meldrick Taylor in a fight where he got outboxed as well. And in the last round, he dropped Taylor, just like how Julio dropped Sergio after getting outboxed, like his dad got outboxed, and it was looking like he was going to get a stoppage, just like his father. Deja vu all over again. So. But, we all saw the fight. Obviously, Sergio made it to the end, and he got the fight by unanimous decision. After that, of course, Julio lost his WBC middleweight title, and that was that. And since that, man, Julio had been up and down with his career. A couple of wins after that, then a loss from Fora, quit on the stool. 2 more wins after that. Then he lost to Canelo Alvarez in the shutout. Then after that, he beat a guy named Everett Bravo, knocked him out in 1 round. Then he lost to Daniel Jacobs. The fight with Daniel Jacobs, he was actually winning the fight before he got stopped in the 5th round. He actually quit in the stool. And prior to that, during the fight, I was like, man, Julio's really doing good. This is the best Julio I've seen since beating Andy Lee when he was middleweight champion, this and that. And Julio was doing good. Julio was doing good, man. Working the body of Daniel Jacobs, being aggressive, landing good shots. And Julio, out of nowhere, quit in the 5th round. I think it was a cut. And he just, I don't know, he didn't want no more. Didn't want no more. That's been Julio for some time. The lack of heart, the lack of discipline. And after that, he lost again to Mario Abel Casares. Technical decision in the 6 rounds. Then he beat a guy named Jason Minda. Stoppage in 4. He won that. And then he lost to the Spider Silva, UFC legend. Split decision loss, 8 rounds. And that was an upset regardless of how big of a legend Anderson Silva is in the MMA world. Anderson Silva came in and beat a professional boxer, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So much experience. And he just came in there and outboxed him. And then Julio went went on to win a fight against David Segarra in 10 rounds, unanimous decision, and 2 years ago. So he hasn't fought in 2 years. So like I said, he's been putting in some work at the Wild Card Gym in California with Freddie Roach. As you can see here, I've been following Julio. I'm Puerto Rican, and I was a big Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fan. You know, I always had this thing that he can live up to his dad because he had it. You know, even when he was middleweight champion, he was a really good fighter. The chin, the way he worked the body like his daddy did. You know, the aggressiveness, the inside game. You know, like I said, good chin. And he was a good fighter. He came to fight. You know, Julio came to fight. He would let his hands go, and he was doing good. This is a month ago. So Julio's been putting in some work, man. Look at that. Julio's been putting in some work, guys. Check this out. He's been over there some time now, putting in some work at the Wild Card Gym in Hollywood. You know, under the guidance of Freddie Roach. You know, during this time with Freddie Roach, that's when he was middleweight champion. You know, got the big win over Andy Lee. You know, beating guys like veterans like Marco Antonio Rubio. You know, so he became champion. He was a world champion. You know, Julio, you know, didn't have that upbringing like his dad, like that. You know, he was already fed a silver spoon, so he didn't have that that hunger, I guess, like his dad did, that made him so successful and became one of the greatest Mexican boxers of all time. So Julio was fed with a silver spoon. He did not have to struggle growing up. So he picked up boxing, I guess, because he wanted to be like his dad. And due to that, I guess, you know, we all saw the results of the up and down career that he's had. But becoming middleweight champion, you know, a lot of boxers aren't able to become champion, and Julio was able to become champion, living up to his dad's name in some areas, at some level. You know, he was able to become middleweight champion. Had some good title, a few title defenses. You know, he came to fight. He was a pretty good fighter. I always felt he would not live up to his dad, but he would have been, if he stayed disciplined and dedicated, he would have ended up being a really good fighter. He was already a good fighter becoming champion, so imagine if he was disciplined and serious. Maybe the losses that he's had were from Fora, Daniel Jacobs, Sergio Martinez. Maybe they wouldn't have been there if Julio was serious. Even in the training camp with Sergio, he was coming to training. He was coming to the gym whenever he felt like. And then if he training at the gym, he's gonna stay home. If he was not coming to the gym, he chose to stay home and shadow box. So I remember the 24/7. He was shadow boxing in the living room, and where he, you know, knowing that he belonged in the gym with Freddie, getting into real work. But he didn't. He was not putting in the real work, and the results showed. But at 37 years old, that's young, but it's not young for boxing. Julio is no longer in his prime when it comes to boxing. He's 37. He wants to turn things around. He's back with Freddie. He's been putting in some work. I think it's too late, and this is me as a fan of Julio. He should have done that maybe 5 years ago, when he was a little more younger, to be boxing. He's almost 40, and at 37, beating these guys at 175. I think right now Julio is fighting like at 175, light heavyweight. He's not gonna beat Dimitri Bivol. He's not gonna beat Beterbiev. He's not even gonna beat Canelo Alvarez. He got beat already by Canelo Alvarez. So big fights. It's gonna be hard for him to get them, and even have a chance to win any of them. Even if he turns things around and gets serious with Freddie. Can he be competitive? I think so. I think so. He had a chance to beat a pretty, maybe a B level, maybe a C plus, a B level, B minus fighter. Maybe a Daniel Jacobs rematch. I don't know, maybe. But we'll see. I just bumped into this news that Julio has been training for some time. He's been with Freddie training, getting, being serious. Well, let's see what happens. He says he has a fight. He's gonna fight sometime in January or February. So we'll see what happens, and let's see where things goes from here for Julio. I'll be surprised if he even makes it to a world title shot. Honestly, he's got the name. He's got the, So we'll see. And I'm a fan of Julio Cesar Chavez. I honestly wish he could make things happen right now. I hope his comeback is successful. I hope he's able to get the big fights he wants, he's looking for. Because Julio Jr. is an attraction, especially if he starts to look good in a few fights before he even gets that big fight. People are going to watch like me. I'm going to tune in and check it out. But Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., man, 37 years old, 35 and 6 wins, 35 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. He wants to make a turnaround. He wants to make a comeback. He wants to be serious with Freddie Roach once again. And no one knows Julio more than Freddie. Freddie's the one that really guided him to the world title. Helped him become champion and was around when Julio was really in there, letting his hands go and wanting to win the fight. So we'll see what happens. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Looking to make a comeback next year, sometime in February, January, and put in some work at the Wildcard Gym in Hollywood. We'll see what happens with that. This is your host, Miracle Boy Boxing. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, guys. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing right here. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.